You can learn more about many of the stories featured in today's episode in the October issue of Mohawk Valley Living magazine. It's our largest issue yet, with even more stories and photos. Available for free at hundreds of locations. The Steet Ponte Auto Group in Yorkville and Herkimer and Turnbull Insurance Service since 1866 present Mohawk Valley Living, exploring the arts, culture, and heritage of our region.
Good morning and welcome to Mohawk Valley Living. It is the season for mazes and corn stalks and pumpkins, the time of the year when kids are getting excited about Halloween just around the corner. So be sure to get out there and enjoy these sparkling days of autumn and Mohawk Valley Living.
Cross your heart and hope to die. Keep a candle in the window till the 4th of July. It's a long, that's a long, that's a long way to get back home.
A popular regular feature in the magazine is the Oneida County History article, written by Oneida County Historical Society Director Brian Howard. This month, he researched and shared the story of General Electric, a company that had a large impact on the area.
GE first came to this region during the Second World War. They opened their first factory on Kent Street in downtown Utica in 1944. And from 1944 until 1993, GE was a fixture in Utica, and at their peak, they employed in the neighborhood of 9,000 local people. So they had a profound impact on the commerce, on the economy, on the entire region, just by nature of them being such a large employer. Well, this was the time before a lot of electronics manufacturing went overseas, and things like radios and television sets, huge government contracts drove a lot of GE's business as well. They manufactured radar and electronic equipment for aircraft for both the U.S. Air Force and the United States Navy. So it was a real mix of products between government contracts and home electronic goods that drove GE over the better part of the 50 years they were here. For the same reason why a lot of companies located here, this was a crossroads of commerce. Transportation routes were plentiful. You had a well-educated workforce, and you had the infrastructure that really facilitated factory work in this region. This area was built on the textile mills that came here during the 19th century. And during the 20th century, firms like GE, once the textile mills moved out, they moved into those same buildings. So it was really pretty well set up for the kind of work that GE did. All four of the major sites where GE was located in Utica and the surrounding area still exist. The French Road building, which was made in the early 1950s, that's where ConMed is today. The Kent Street building, the first place where GE was located in the city, is now the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. Trenton Technology is in the Broad Street factory, and I believe that the site, the radio department on Bleecker Street, is now a warehouse.
And it does show you what a big employer it was when you see these buildings.
Oh, sure, sure. And I'm hard-pressed to think of another employer, maybe Griffiths Air Force Base, that brought in as many people to the area to work as did GE. The downturn in American manufacturing had a huge impact on GE and really every light and heavy manufacturing industry in the country. Jobs were shipped overseas. One of the biggest impacts right toward the end was the end of the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union, which dissolved in 1991. There just wasn't the large demand for government. There wasn't the government contract demand for GE's products. And this region had been steadily losing population over the 60s, 70s, and into the 80s, and GE followed suit. I think it's fantastic to see that now they are coming back to the area, really bringing the story of this company and Greater Utica full circle.
Take again, but this year I'm gonna be, yes I
When planning your family's future, turn to the principles of the past. Turn to Turnbull. Turnbull Insurance Service is an independent agency representing the most dependable companies for all your insurance needs, as well as complete financial planning and wealth management. Call today for a free assessment. Special order your furniture now for holiday delivery. Adirondack Furniture gives you the freedom of choice. Choose your style, your wood type, and your finish with the lowest prices on American-made dining, bedroom, and occasional furniture. Explore over 23,000 square feet of brand-name furniture at the lowest prices guaranteed. With 0% financing and free delivery. Special order your furniture now for holiday delivery at Adirondack Furniture, Riverside Center in North Utica.
I, R.A. Dudrak, the Window King, invite you to visit our showroom in Holland Patent, or we'll come to your home by appointment. We've been installing replacement windows for over 45 years. Keep your palace cool in the summer and warm in the winter by adding new windows. Many styles and selections to choose from. Bay, bow, garden, and double hung, single hung, and slider windows. The Window King also introduces color replacement windows. So take a short drive to R.A. Dudrak, Holland Patent, and tell them the Window King sent you.
Come explore the new Newport Marketplace Top-Notch Garden Center, featuring over 45 vendors of antiques and vintage items. You'll also find all your garden needs at the new Newport Marketplace Top-Notch Garden Center on Main Street in Newport. Celebrate Oktoberfest in Little Falls Thursday, October 15th. Free family fun starting at 3 p.m. Featuring Jude's Polka Jets, free polka lessons, Bavarian food, beer tasting, shopping, and more. And be sure to mark your calendars for Christmas in Little Falls, December 12th.
I love Mohawk Valley living.
We love Mohawk Valley living.
I love Mohawk Valley living.
Hey, I'm Genesee Joe, and I love Mohawk Valley living.
I love Mohawk Valley living.
There's a place on down the road, just over the hill past the maple grove. Down by the road, just a little ways, that's where we all used to play. Moss-covered rods, water that's freezing, warm summer breeze, it sure is pleasing, sun shining through the white.
This month's featured artist is weaver Barbara Decker of Clinton. Her passion is creating beautiful clothing that is both comfortable and timeless. She began her craft long ago on a whim, but it has become a lifelong infatuation.
Oh, way back in Ohio, my husband was getting his PhD, and there was a woman teaching weaving in her home, and she was charging as much as I charged for babysitting back in those days, like 50 cents an hour. So I couldn't say no, and I went, and I was absolutely hooked from the beginning, and she couldn't get me to leave, and like she'd be setting the table for dinner, and I'd be going, just a few more shots, just a few more shots, and I rented looms from the Weavers Guild after that, and then finally got my own loom within the year. But just, it was destined to weave. I don't know, but I think it's the fact that it's so old and so universal. So everywhere you look, in our house, in everybody's house, you find weaving. I mean, you're wearing woven pants. We have woven curtains, woven rugs, woven linens, woven towels. I mean, it's everywhere, and it's in every culture, and it's so cool because you can never know it all. It's always new stuff to learn. And I'm also lucky to do it in now the 21st century, where I don't have to do it, and because I don't think the thrill would be there if I lived in the 1700s or earlier, where you had to weave, hand weave, all those things that I mentioned. Mm-hmm. Not so much fun, probably. I'm fortunate in that people still want to learn how to weave, and I love to share my enthusiasm. Love, love, love it. So I have a bunch of students, as many as I have looms for, which isn't that many. It's 3 in the morning, 4 in the evening on Tuesdays. But they're doing such interesting projects. I love having them come. Weaving is a relatively solitary thing, and it's great to have other people come. There's also a really great Weavers Guild in town, so I get to share with them. But it's nice to be able to talk to people who know the same language and know when threads break, it deserves sympathy and support.
Although Barbara rarely repeats a color or design, her current project was just too beautiful to weave only once.
This one, the colors are just absolutely scrumptious. It's made of rayon chenille, which has its good and bad aspects. It's not a whole lot of fun necessarily to weave. The yarn itself has no elasticity, which means it doesn't forgive at all. If you catch a thread, it breaks rather than going, oh, I'll bounce right back. It does not do that. But it absorbs color scrumptiously. So the colors are really intense and deep. And when it's washed, it turns into velvet, and it just drapes beautifully, and it just shows its color, and it's just yummy. And once people have touched chenille, nothing else feels so great.
What is it that keeps doing it? Because you're doing a repetitive motion. What is it that keeps you inspired?
Yes, well, I get to plan the next project while I'm weaving the one I'm weaving now. A lot of people have to do yoga or meditation or something to calm them down, to not have stress. I get to weave. So I get to do meditation and calm down, and I have yardage at the end of the day.
Barbara teaches a small weekly weaving class at her studio at 9 Franklin Ave in Clinton. She is hosting an open house for holiday shopping on Friday, December 4th from 4 to 8 p.m. and Saturday, December 5th from 10 to 4. Call 853-2174 for more information.
As the fall colors peak, it's time to visit Cooperstown and the Fenimore Art Museum's wonderful new exhibition, A Perfect Likeness, Folk Portraits and Early Photography. Discover how this new 19th century technology prompted the downfall of portrait painting. Don't miss A Perfect Likeness, Folk Portraits and Early Photography at the Fenimore Art Museum overlooking Otsego Lake in Cooperstown. Great American art in a beautiful setting. For fall hours and $2 off adult admission, visit FenimoreArtMuseum.org.
The Steet Ponte Auto Group is proud to bring Mohawk Valley Living to you each week, serving the Utica area and the Valley with outstanding customer service. In Yorkville at Steet Ponte Ford Lincoln Mazda, Steet Ponte Volkswagen, and Steet Toyota Scion. And in Herkimer at Steet Ponte Chevrolet. Stop in and see why it's so easy to do business with Steet Ponte. Don't miss the Hugo Wolf String Quartet with mezzo-soprano Olivia Vogt, Friday, October 30th at 7:30 p.m. Tickets available online and at the door at the Wellen Hall Schambach Center for Music and the Performing Arts at Hamilton College. Call 853-4331.
Welcome to the Little Falls Antique Center in the shops at 25 West. Come on in and browse thousands of unique items that change on a daily basis. Shop for yourself or for someone else. We're open every day from 10 to 5. We look forward to your visit here at historic Canal Place in Little Falls.
Tom's Natural Foods is your connection to local farms for natural and organic fruits and vegetables, meats, eggs, cheeses, and other milk products at Tom's Natural Foods in Clinton, naturally.
The people you know, the rock you love, and more songs per hour. 92.7 FM, The Drive, Central New York's locally owned independent rock station.
Start a family tradition at Windy Hill Orchard and Farm Market. Enjoy you-pick apples and wagon rides. Browse the country market for farm fresh fudge, candy, local produce, apple cider, and homemade cider donuts. At Windy Hill Orchard and Farm Market, 577 East Street in Cassville.
Travis, boy, do you remember? Travis, have you lost your mind? Travis, never lose direction.
There's a new little restaurant in Utica that's getting a lot of attention. Emmy's Global Cuisine is the result of a local doctor's desire for the dishes of her homeland in the Philippines. Emmy Pizarro Davis and her husband Jake opened their restaurant on Bank Place this past summer.
Well, I'm actually a pediatrician, a full-time pediatrician at Slocum Dixon, and I've always loved to eat and to cook. I come from a long line of good cooks, starting from my grandmother to my mother. My grandmother raised 10 kids in a home-based cafeteria catering company. So when I got married, I introduced my husband to all these different dishes, and every time, you know, I feed people, they say, you should open a restaurant. And I know better, so I'm, you know, sticking with my job, but all these years, it's like, all right, it's probably gonna come to fruition. And then we discovered this place, and the rent was, you know, reasonable enough, and, you know, all the support was there for us. So we said, why not? Let's introduce Utica, because Utica has become an, you know, international flavor kind of place. I was born and raised in the Philippines, so 7,100 islands of yummy, delicious food, plus all the islands surrounding us. So I know Thai food, Vietnamese food, Japanese food, Korean food. So those are all my influences. When I serve the food, I hide in the kitchen and watch the facial expressions as they go, and there's one lady that when we came out to ask her how the food was, she said, I'm having a moment, I'll tell you later. So that's the joy. That's what I love when I serve the food.
I am finishing the last of my pensit, which I thought was pasta, but actually it's rice, and it's phenomenal. Everything from the Filipino egg rolls to the pensit are flavors I have never experienced before, and believe me, it's well worth the trip down here to Bank Place to try it yourself.
Read about Emmy's Global Cuisine in the October issue of Mohawk Valley Living magazine. Emmy's is located at 12 Bank Place in Utica.
Moving along these dusty rural back roads triggers a flood of memories, and the trees all whisper hello. My old friend, it's good to have you home. Oh, why did you go?
Our next stop is historic Rome. This area was once a great carrying place where the Iroquois and European traders would have to portage their boats. At the Rome Historical Society, we learn how this early center of trade became a strategic location during the Revolutionary War and developed into a city of commerce.
Yeah, after the Revolutionary War, it became Lynchville. Dominic Lynch was here, and he rented out parcels to people. And then, you know, we had the arsenal come in, War of 1812, Erie Canal, Clinton's Ditch, the improved canal, and then right through the rest of the 19th century or early 20th century with industry. So yeah, and then after World War II, we had Griffiths Air Force Base come in, and of course through the Cold War. And now we have all new exciting things happening with nano and all that stuff. So. Well, you know, we have a new rotating exhibit that shows the recent donations to the museum, and that keeps the lobby fresh. We're working on our temporary exhibit area, which actually currently has some Griffiths pieces in it, and that is going to also be a rotating exhibit area where, you know, more themed based, you know, whether we're doing cameras or, you know, showing textiles or really anything we can put in that space. We've actually used it for, Rome City School District has had an art exhibit in there over the summer. So looking to keep it versatile, you know. Oh, it's their history. It's their history. And it's an exciting place, exciting time. We've got a lot of programs going on. You know, if somebody wants to research their family, do some genealogy research, we have a research library. You know, if you want to look up photos of your house, you know, all of those things we have going on, and we're really, it's an exciting time for us. We also have our 3 external properties, the Lower Landing, the Tomb of the Unknown Revolutionary War Soldiers, and Fort Bull, which of course are always available to tour. You know, just give us a call and we can set that up.
Don't you be no dusty miner like me. I was born and raised at the mouth of the hazard holler. Coal cars rolling, rumbling past my door. Now I'm standing in a rusty line, all empty and yelling and don't stop here anymore.
The The beautiful English Tudor-style mansion on Bloomfield Street is home to the Rome Art and Community Center, a place for events, classes, and art exhibits. Every October, it is transformed into a haunted house. The home has become a community gathering place.
This was the Carpenter Mansion, which would have been Grace and Arthur Carpenter, and they were native Romans, and the Carpenter family made their fortune basically through a brass foundry, and it was called Rome Metallic Bedstead, so I can only assume that they made their fortune making brass beds back in the day.
And then what happened to the home after they died?
Well, it was built in the 1920s, and then Mr. and Mrs. Carpenter never had any children. So Mrs. Carpenter was the last to pass, and she willed the house to the city of Rome with a stipulation it always be used to further the arts and for the community. She set out to have a home that Jane Austen would have lived in. She was a big fan of literature and very educated woman, and that was her heart's desire, and Mr. Set about to make that happen for her. We have taken down things from the art galleries right now. We're gearing up for our Halloween haunted house and Casper's Not So Haunted House and Trick or Treat Street. So there's something for everyone of all ages. But it's being transformed now with cobwebs and bats and all that fun stuff for Halloween. And we'll do that for the 2 weekends in October. But then just as quickly as that comes down, we'll be putting up our items for our holiday house shopping extravaganza, where we feature artisans from all over the region. So the cobwebs will come down and the Christmas trees will go up.
So what do you think the Carpenters would think about what's happening here in their home?
I think they would absolutely love it, that it's being used and that the community is coming in, that it's still a vibrant place where folks like to meet and events go on, and that we can still, again, everything we're doing here, the events I spoke of, are fundraisers for Rome Art and Community Center, and our mission is making the arts accessible and available to all. I think that would make Mrs. Carpenter, who was a budding artist, very happy.
Be sure to attend one of this season's events at the Rome Art and Community Center. Halloween Haunted House is October 9th and 10th and 16th and 17th from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. There is also a Young Children's Not So Haunted House and Trick or Treat Street. In November, there's shopping at the annual Holiday House. Visit romeart.org for more information about upcoming events.
To the Mohawk Valley, train pulled into Union Station. One passenger was I who chose to stay.
When in Rome, we enjoy a break at DeCastro's Brick Oven. The Brick Oven pizza is as much fun to watch being made as it is to eat. Today, we're here for homemade desserts, like their famous triple chocolate cake. DeCastro's Brick Oven is open Monday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sunday 4 to 9 at 615 Erie Boulevard West in Rome.
There was music in the valley. There was music in the air. There was music all around me. There was music everywhere.
The Steet Ponte Auto Group is proud to bring Mohawk Valley Living to you each week, serving the Utica area and the Valley with outstanding customer service. In Yorkville at Steet Ponte Ford Lincoln Mazda, Steet Ponte Volkswagen, and Steet Toyota Scion. And in Herkimer at Steet Ponte Chevrolet. Stop in and see why it's so easy to do business with Steet Ponte. You go the extra mile for your small business and should expect the same from your insurance company. For over 140 years, Turnbull Insurance Service has been committed to local small business. For your commercial coverage, turn to the company ready to go that extra mile. Turn to Turnbull. Melrose Supermarket is your family hometown market, known for their choice hand-cut meats, homemade breads, and fresh pastas and salads. Check out the weekly specials at Melrose Supermarket, East Main Street in Frankfort. Explore arts and culture in Madison County. Discover museums, art centers, galleries, and historical landmarks. Madison County, where past and present meet. Come explore the new Newport Marketplace Top-Notch Garden Center, featuring over 45 vendors of antiques and vintage items. You'll also find all your garden needs at the new Newport Marketplace Top-Notch Garden Center on Main Street in Newport. Meelan's Market is your holiday meat headquarters, featuring boneless hams, smoked, trimmed, and cured by Bob Meelan himself. Stuffed pork chops, low-salt, low-fat kielbasa, chicken cordon bleu, and remember to pre-order your Plainville turkey at Meelan's Market at the Four Corners in Clark Mills. Expecting company? Just call Deansboro's Superette. They prepare delicious Middle Eastern platters for any number of guests. Call 841-4377. Autumn colors are here. Desert sage, cadmium orange, dried urban orchids. Let the Village Crossing help you put it all together. New fashions arriving daily at the Village Crossing in Clinton. Celebrate the season at North Star Orchards with sweet cider, fresh baked pies, and cider donuts. Add some autumn color with jumbo mums, gourds, and Indian corn. And take a wagon ride and pick your own pumpkin Saturdays and Sundays 10 to 4 at North Star Orchards in Westmoreland.
Traveling round the Mohawk Valley, we're going on a road trip. Come on along, pack up the family. It's time.
Before we talk to George Joseph about pumpkins, he treats us to another fall favorite, fresh pressed Concord grape juice. Local winemaker Gail Burdick has the skill and patience for processing grapes.
Once they're picked in the field, brought in, we wash them, and then we run them through the crusher. The crusher breaks the skin so that it'll release the juice. From the crusher, we then pass them into the press. We're using water pressure to put pressure on the on the pulp or the mash to extract the juice.
There's lately, with the food movement, a lot of heirloom varieties of squash that are becoming more and more popular. Obviously, the pumpkin is part of the squash family, but all of these things are edible and can be made into pies or served just like you would any other kind of squash, whether you bake it or whether you microwave it. As the market developed into a hybrid pumpkin or a sugar pumpkin, what we want to look for is the deep color, because you almost see a speckling of cinnamon color in a really rich pumpkin that's going to give you the highest sugar content. All the pumpkins or squash are being harvested now, right up through the frost. But if you want to keep that squash through the winter, you're going to have better luck if you bathe it or wash it with a little Clorox, maybe a half teaspoon per 3 or 4 gallons of water. Wash it good, wash the stem good. It'll kill any of the bacteria that came in from the field, and it'll help preserve it.
Got a head like a beam. He steers a T-bird like you never seen. Picks up the young ones at